Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Revenge of the Sea Team on the modded Beyond server. This is, I don't know, like 3 days after the whole Abysmalcraft incident, so I've lost some stuff. The division sigil that we did, that's there, but I haven't actually upgraded, so I'm a bad again. And as you can see, all the stuff is gone. And the first thing we are doing, we are coming over here and we are getting rid of this piece of shit right here. This whole goddamn thing and all the ooze and all that kind of crap, we are getting rid of it. Because I don't want any of this stuff around at all. We're going to have to go through and remove anything that can be anywhere that can be closely related to the Shoggoth. And I'm going to kill off all these mobs and stuff like that as well. Piss off. So I'm going to go through. We're going to remove these guys here. And I really wish we could just get rid of the whole entire mod, but because of the fact that it does world generation stuff, that's going to cause issues if we were to remove it, because it's all over the place. But I'm going to give you guys fair warning that if you are going to do this mod, make sure that you do it in unloaded chunks. Otherwise it's going to take over everything. And the thing is, in order to be able to get rid of this, what you have to do, and this is the reason why I'm doing this video is going to be shorter, but what you're going to have to do is, you see all this crap right here, the Shoggoth ooze, I'm going to have to go through and make sure that I get every single block that is here. Otherwise something could respawn and then it would just start all over again. And the thing is, it normally goes too deep on grass. So if you happen to see it on grass, it's going to go underneath it by a couple blocks, and you have to get rid of every little trace of it. So every piece, no matter where it is, make sure that it's gone. Do not place it down anywhere in the world, because even if you were to just like, see there, it's all underneath, and then I'm going to have to check, there it is again. So make sure you check everywhere. And the funny thing is what I was told to do was to go through and just, with what we had in the previous episode, you saw how much crap there was. And I was told to just go through and take down all the pillars and then get rid of the ooze. The ooze is 2 layers deep, and it was a 350 by 350 block area. Who the hell has time to do that? So, like, you multiply it yourself. 300 by 300 is 9,000. So it'd be like 9,250 blocks, something like that. Do I have time to clear out 9,250 blocks actually times 2? So it'd be 18,500 blocks, not including all the pillars. Like, that's removing 25 to 30,000 blocks, if not more, just to get rid of the crap that was here. Just so that I could have the server back to normal without actually, okay, you know what, I gotta get rid of these things too. Those things, get rid of all these, because you can see it's setting off these lightning strikes too. So that's gotta go. You gotta go. All this stuff here, get rid of these pillars. And you see now, we can actually see the sky, which is a good thing. So we're going to get rid of all this. Ooh. So it wasn't a very good solution, and it's like I said in my previous video, if you were doing just a mod of this by itself, then yeah, I could totally get that. I'd be like, yeah, you know what? That's cool. I can totally understand that you've got a full world of all this crap, and no big deal if it takes over the whole thing, because, well, there's nothing else there for it to ruin, because it's the whole friggin' world anyways. And even at that point, I honestly don't think you'd be able to use the world, because there would be so much crap all over the place with the mobs and stuff like that. You'd probably end up lagging out the server. And I think that would be the biggest problem. Like over in my area here in the last episode, you can see there's probably like over 800 mobs just in my area alone. So if you can imagine the whole world getting taken over by this stuff, wow, like unfreaking believable. So that's my advice to you guys. There is no mob cap. There's nothing in the config, nothing you can do to fix it. Once this thing gets out of hand, if you don't have a backup of your server, it's over. Like, there's nothing you can do. You're beyond screwed. So if you're gonna start Abysmalcraft, make a backup first of all, and second of all, just don't do it. You know, there's unless it's in the unloaded chunk, like I said, then you have the possibility of it not. But the problem with that, because somebody else suggested that, here, we'll just put it like 50,000 blocks away and teleport to it. The problem with that is if you're teleporting to it, no big deal, but chunks do stay loaded for a little bit after you leave. So however long that takes, and plus the time that you're there, things are going to be spawning and happening, right? So, I don't know, say you're only there for 5 minutes, and a pillar spawns every 5 minutes. Well, then what happens is, each time you're there, at least one pillar is going to spawn. It gets to a big enough area that maybe 2 pillars spawn, and then 3, and then 5, and then 20, and then 30, and then 50, and then 100. So it continually multiplies, and you're only there for 5 minutes, and you're like, no big deal, no big deal. But each time it's going to keep adding up, and that's the problem. So the developer, I tweeted it out to him so that he could see. He said it was beautiful, and I was like, yeah, maybe if like it was a totally different circumstance and it didn't fuck all my shit up, because it screwed up my entire base. I had stuff growing on top of here. It blew up my building over here. It took over the Flans mod area. It took over my forestry building. It broke through the glass. It killed all the villagers. It killed all the cows and pigs that are over there. And I mean, it just destroyed everything. So nowhere near your base is the first tip. Second of all, move it far away if you can, and just don't go there unless you have to. And the only other thing is like I said, make a backup before you do start playing with it, because you could be in for a whole world of hurt. See, like, I gotta continue looking through for all this stuff here. Thank God for the Traveler's Glove, otherwise this would take for freaking ever. And you can see it is everywhere. And unfortunately, all the work that I did in the previous episode to get to the Abysmalcraft and all that, see, it's all under here. It's actually under the water. And like I said, too deep. So make sure you get it all, because even here, it's in more spots than you could imagine. And that's the pain in the ass. I think the biggest pain in the ass. Oh, better get out. Oh yeah, my robot, I don't breathe anymore, I forgot, so I can stay underwater as long as I want. But look at this. Like, it's freaking everywhere in this whole section. You're talking 2 blocks deep. Everywhere. And that's what I would have had to have dealt with if I had have taken the guy's advice and just dug it up. But can you imagine doing this for 20,000 blocks? Not happening. I don't have time for that, man. Like, I've got a IRL job that I have, and I can't. Everybody else on the server wouldn't have been able to play. Like, it was getting to the point where everybody was like, what's all the thunder? Where does that come from? Where'd that come from? What's this? What's that? And it's like, that's all the Abysmalcraft mod, guys. That's all the shit that's going down over at my base. And some of these people are like 3, 4, 5,000 blocks away, and you can hear it all over the server. So, you know, as interesting as the mod is, I won't be continuing on with it, because there's just, unless I go into creative maybe, and I'll do it in the single player world just to show what it's like, but I won't be doing it anymore. And the battle that we missed was like a green ender dragon that we would have missed. What we needed to do was craft the Abysmalcraft Wastelands Necronomicon, and then we would have been able to do that mob fight. Oh, tornado. Then we would have been able to do that mob fight, and that was what was missing from the episode where I was actually in Abysmalcraft before all this shit went down. And like I said, it's only 24 hours in between that video and when I did the sort of rage quit episode, where I was almost done with modded at that point when I saw that, and I came back on and I was like, screw this shit, I'm not doing it. I was actually, I almost offered up to the guys on the server right here. I almost actually said, would you want to do a 1.89 or a 1.9 modded versus doing this and staying with it? And see, look at this. It's even underneath the block. I wasn't going to remove this. I was just going to leave it, but thank God I did. Because this shit it'll take over again. Like, all it needs is a spawning area. I'm getting sucked up by the, by a tornado. That's awesome. So, I took a bit of a break, and I got the guys to rewind the server, or roll back the server. And that's the other downside, is that it's now not only affected me and my base, it affected at least, I don't know, we'll say a dozen other people on the server, because they had to go back, or they're going to have to go back and rebuild all the stuff they did in the last 3 days to when we actually rolled back the server. So unfortunately for all that, we're missing out. They're missing out on all their builds as well. So it's just a long, big time waster, and overall just a real pain in the ass. And I mean, I get that mods have different things in their game and different characteristics that make it what it is. And I know Colonel on the server, he'll agree with me that any mod that puts anything that's potentially game breaking into the mod is not a very good mod. You know, like as creative as it is to be able to put in a whole new dimension, or let alone 4 new dimensions, that's badass. Like I'm all about the different dimensions and stuff like that, and I like playing in the other dimensions. But when you get into something like this, where you have something that you've got no control over, and you can't even set it up in config to you know, put the mob cap at, or say that these guys can only spawn this many of those towers or whatever, that is, in my eyes, game breaking, because it now is taking away any kind of control that the player has and putting it all into the mod's hands. So we have no way of stopping what was happening there, and that was the thing that sucked the most. So the mod maker has, or not has, but will be making an addendum to the Abysmalcraft book that he has in the mod pack to state that the Shoggoths have absolutely no limit to the pillars that they spawn, and that they will be taking over your world, basically, if you put it in an area where they can do so. And that's the thing that if I had known that, if I had seen that, I would not have done it, knowing that, or I would have moved it probably 20 to 50,000 blocks away, because again, I can't be having this kind of stuff on the server where it's affecting everybody else's gameplay, and especially with the mob count where it was, that would have been hell in itself. So what I'm going to have to do now, guys, is I'm going to have to continue to work on this here and see whether or not we can get rid of all this stuff, and if I have gotten rid of it all, because I'm not entirely sure whether or not what I'm doing is actually going to get rid of the stuff. And also I got to keep an eye on it to see if there is anything else that spawned, because for all I know, it could be like underneath here, you know, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to go off camera for quite some time and continue playing with this, but I did want to give you guys a little bit of an update video as to what was going on with this. I know that I didn't say anything hateful or anything towards the mod maker, because hey, it's his mod, it's what he feels is needed in the game and what he wanted to put in his mod pack, and that's cool, man, because you know, it's like I said, it's his. He can do what he wants with it. Nobody can tell anybody what to do, right? But for me, it just isn't what I was looking for in a mod pack, or in a mod rather, and it was something that I would not recommend using on a server, and especially not putting in a area that has chunks loaded, whether it be artificially or by player. You wouldn't want this to be anywhere around that kind of stuff, because it can and will get out of hand. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of an episode, but it is a lot nicer now that you guys can see that things are back to normal. My buildings are all intact. The what do you call it, forestry land over here. It was all destroyed. There were fireballs inside and outside. That was the other thing, the floating fireballs. What happens with those? It's like when you've probably seen it in vanilla, where you're in the nether and a guy shoots a fireball and you log out, and then what you're left with is a a floating fireball in the nether. Well, that's what happened with this, but it was like hundreds, almost thousands of these bloody fireballs were floating all over the place. And the funnier thing was, it didn't destroy the pillar blocks, it only destroyed the land and the buildings and everything else around it. So it doesn't touch anything in the mod, it only destroys the other stuff that's in the area. So time set, oops, gonna be all caps, time set 0. Damn it, I did that wrong. There we go, make it daytime. Yeah, so Colonel offered to help me out, which was greatly appreciated. Colonel, I do appreciate you offering that up. He also put a post on Reddit to warn people about it and say, hey guys, if you're going to be doing this, here's a little bit of a heads up, because you definitely don't want to be using this if you're not going to be paying attention, or if it's in loaded chunks, etc, etc, etc. Basically everything I'm telling you here, he put up there on Reddit. So I hope this is informative for you guys. I hope you spread the word that if it is being used on the server, to be careful with it, and know that its full potential won't be realized potentially until it's too late. And there could be some irreparable damage if it's not taken care of. And see, it's things like this, making sure that we have all these Shoggoth blocks gone, because that's one block left, and it will spawn one of those Shoggoths, and they'll start making a trail of that Shoggoth ooze, and then they'll just spawn more and more and more and more until we're back to where we were. So I'm going to sit here for a little while, guys, and keep an eye on things, make sure that nothing spreads or happens. And I don't know, I'm going to take a bit of a break for a bit, and I'll come back with something new, something exciting, and something fun. Oh yeah, I wonder about this here, because I had the storage. Okay, it's not too bad. I had the piping all done all the way up, but that's okay. We'll be able to figure that out. At least I didn't lose the entire thing. There's a few things that I lost, but it's nothing massive, and I'm just overly appreciated that I don't have to worry about clearing out 50,000 blocks of ooze. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button for me. It really, really helps me out. And if you want to see different videos from different series, including 2 other vanilla Minecraft servers, make sure you hit that sub button too. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.